Hi, my name is WhyBhanshu, and in this video, we'll be talking about the actual reality of doing your bachelor's from IISc. We'll be talking in detail about the pros of IISc UG program and also some of the cons of the same. I'm going to try to be as neutral and as unbiased as possible so as to give you a true and accurate picture of what to expect from IISc UG. Before moving forward, what's my credibility? Why should you take my word for it? I've graduated from the Indian Institute of Science, IISc, with a bachelor's and a gold medal in material science. So I truly feel I'm in the best position to answer what the degree entails, what the program is like, what the curriculum is like. And unlike a random stranger on the internet who's giving you advice based on what he read off of a website, I have been through that program. I've lived that life. So I truly feel I'm in the best position to comment about the same. This video is going to be a long one because we have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm not going to waste any time on musical intros or something. We're just going to dive right into it. Alright, let's start with the pros first. The first and foremost thing that comes to mind is the credit-based structure of the undergraduate degree. What I mean by that is that for completing an undergraduate degree in IISc, you need to have 131 credits. And what are credits? So every course has some amount of credits associated with it. Usually courses are 3-credit courses. Some of them are also 4-credit courses if they have more lecture hours and more course. If the course load is simply more, then you will have more credit allocated to the same. But typically it's a 3-credit course. So you graduate when you have 131 credits. And how are these credits distributed? Out of this 131 credits, 52 credits have to be from the major you choose. So I was specializing in material science. My major was material science. So I needed to have at least 52 credits from courses along the material science department. Apart from that, 19 credits need to be from engineering courses. These courses are typically from CSA or CDS, which are computer sciences basically, or it can be electrical, or it can be other engineering departments, right? 52 from your majors, 19 from engineering, 36 are courses which are core courses which are taught in the first 3 semesters, which is maths, physics and biology and all these courses, excluding the engineering courses which are taught in the first 3 semesters. 9 credits are for humanities. So there are also humanities courses that are taught in a science degree, which is quite fun. They're pretty cool courses, honestly. I really enjoyed some of them at least. Right, so, and even after all of this, what I really like is you have 15 credits which are called assortment credits. So what that means is you're free to choose whatever course you want from whatever department you want, and that will just count towards your assortment credits. So for example, I took some courses from the Department of Management Studies just to get a flavor of what management studies feel like. I also took a philosophy course. It was titled The Philosophical Basis of Mathematics and Scientific Thinking. So it's what I'm trying to say here is IISc UG is a great place to experiment with some of the courses, and I'm not sure if this same amount of flexibility is present in other curriculums as well, which I think is a huge pro. Also, I wanted to mention one more thing here, and that is the minimum amount of credits you can take in a semester is 16 credits, and the maximum you can take in a semester is 23 credits. One of the implications of that is that if you've consistently taken, say, 22 or 23 or 21 credits every semester, then come the end of your degree, you won't need to have to take a lot of courses to finish that quota of 131 credits. So for example, in my case, in my 7th semester, I only had to take a couple of courses. And what that implies is it really gives you some time and space to explore other interests, which is nice. So basically in UG, in your 4th year, you can kind of comparatively at least chill more than your previous years. Time for pro number 2, and that is some of the faculty or the professors that have been taught at IISc are just exceptional. I wouldn't say that this is true for all the professors. It necessarily doesn't imply that every professor you meet is the best, but some are just top notch. For example, I remember very vividly my first engineering course, my first semester course also, which was UE 101. It was titled Introduction to Programming and Algorithms. And just to give you a little background, I was a PCMB student. I had maths and biology in my 12th, and I didn't have computer science. So I was kind of scared going into this course, so how I will cope up. But the course was so well structured and so well taught. I remember Professor Viraj and Professor Satish They did an exceptional job of delivering the content. Also, TA Ullas, shout out to him. I Throughout the course, I fell in love with how programming works, and I was very new to it, and the whole thing just seemed so fun to me. And the reflection of how good the professor and the course was is in the fact that I went on to take several other courses from the Department of CSA. For example, I took courses in data mining and in parallel programming using supercomputer clusters. So for a person who's coming from a non-computer science background, to get that exposure only because a professor is so nice is kind of testament of the kind of quality of education you can expect in some of the courses at least. Moving on to pro number 3. Now this one is the obvious one. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It might still feel like I'm sugarcoating things. But IISc is by far the best research institute in the entire country. I think to put it into perspective, let me just use some numbers. The annual budget of IISc is around 991 crores. So say 1,000 crores. So in IISc, you have an institute who's spending 1,000 crores year after year, every year, on its research basically. And what that does is it provides you world-class facilities and infrastructure for the kind of research that you want to do. So there are over 40 departments which are clubbed under various sciences division umbrella. So you have computational sciences, you have biological sciences, mechanical sciences, chemical sciences, and so on. Really, any kind of work or any kind of research that you want to do in, I'm sure there will be some professor in some of the department who's working along the same lines. And so if you're truly passionate about doing science, there isn't a better place in the country to do so. In fact, if you look at QS ranking parameters, one of the parameters is called citations per faculty, and IISc is the world's best in citations per faculty, ahead of the Harvards, the MITs of the world. And I think it's a true reflection of what every faculty is contributing in terms of pushing the boundaries of science. So it really is the best scientific institute to be in the entire country. Pro number 4, and that would be great peer learning. Now this one is one of my personal favorites. I've come across some of the smartest people that I've ever met in IISc. In general, the kind of students you interact with are exceptionally just very good problem solvers, and there's so much to learn from your peers. Actually, fundamentally speaking, you learn less in the classroom but more from the peers. At least on a personal level, I would say I've been fundamentally shaped by the kind of people I'm surrounded with, and over the course of last 4 years, I've really seen myself grow into the kind of person that I am. I can name names just to give a good marketing to the kind of graduates that do graduate from IISc. For example, some of the names that just come on top of my head. One of my seniors, her name is Babusha Singh. She just finished her MPhil from Cambridge. Shout out to her. Shout out to Nidish Sagar. He's doing his PhD from MIT. Chinmay, he's doing his masters from the London School of Economics. Akshay, he's my batchmate. He has done some great work in ecology and wildlife conservation, and I can just keep naming names. This list will keep going on. But what I'm really trying to say here is the kids are really smart. That's honestly the best way to put it. And I think you can't put a cost to it. Surrounding yourself with such smart-minded people is one of the biggest pros of studying in IISc. Pro number 5. Now this one would be a beautiful campus. IISc's campus is gorgeous, honestly. I still remember the first day that I walked into the campus. It was June 1st. It was the counseling session. So IISc has a counseling session before you're supposed to join in July. So I'm from Rajasthan. So imagine Rajasthan in the month of June. It's very hot. And then suddenly you go to IISc and it's 24 degree, and I'm like, is this even what? Like, it felt so nice. And the thing about IISc also is that sunlight rarely comes to the ground. So there's such a big tree cover, and in general there's wind flowing around, and the campus is big. The campus is really big. It's 440 acres. So it's really like a city within itself, and the trees are nice, and in general the vibe is just very, very soothing. And as to this day, when I visit back IISc after graduating, I went a couple of times. It just feels like home, honestly, and it felt like home the moment I walked in. So beautiful campus and absolutely gorgeous views is definitely a big pro. Moving on to the final pro of studying or doing your UG from IISc, and this one is close to my heart. It might not be true for everybody who's done UG from IISc, but it certainly is true to me for me, and that is ultimate Frisbee. Now, some of you, or most of you rather, at least I wasn't aware of what ultimate Frisbee is before I joined IISc. But after joining IISc, I was playing football. And I used to play some other sports, and I would see these people throw the disc around, and they would throw it such long distance in such fancy manners. I'm like, what? How are they doing this? And then I found out it's an actual sport, and it's a beautiful sport. Honestly, it's honestly one of the best things that have happened to me over my UG. It's a great community. I've made some. Actually, most of my best friends have been through Ultimate. I've met some amazing people, and not just the people. The sport itself is really fun to play. And IISc has a very good Ultimate team. We were ranked second in the country in the last National College Ultimate Championship that happened, NCUC. So it's top notch. And it's really fun to play with. If you do join IISc and you do become a part of IISc UG, I really urge you to go check out the Frisbee club. It's called Slip Disc, and just keep the club going and participate in tournaments and have fun. It's really a nice place to be, and that's big pro. Okay, so far it feels like IISc is the best place to be. There is nothing wrong with the curriculum or the institute. It's just everything's just so rosy, so glory. Not quite, not entirely true. That's there is another side to the coin, which is not talked about in social media, or I certainly couldn't find any content, and I wasn't aware of these things when I joined the program. And these are the things that I found out for myself, and I feel like I owe it to the community to tell them that, look, this is also true. So now moving on to the cons of doing your UG from IISc. Con number one, the first and the most important con, I feel. So we've already established that IISc is the best place to do research in the entire country. But what happens when you do research, or when you enter with the headspace of doing research? At least I entered with the headspace of, I'm going to do research, I'm going to be a great scientist, and yada. But you're just a kid in 12th grade, honestly. You don't even know how research feels like. You have no idea how a life in academia looks like, or what it takes to be a scientist, honestly. And so it's very natural over the course of the 2 years that go by, or the 4 years that go by. I said 2 because I had this realization in my second year, that you realize you're not cut out for research, honestly. It's not something that brings the most joy to you. To some people, it might just be the best thing ever. Right, the other people that I've mentioned in the first part, these are people who really enjoyed doing research, and they were clearly very good at it because they liked it. But there is a significantly big portion of the people enrolled in the UG program who do not end up liking the research that they're doing, and that happens not just in IISc, that happens in all sorts of colleges, honestly. The degree that you get enrolled in, and you realize that it's not somewhere that my interests lie. But what other colleges have is the opportunity. When I say other colleges, I mean premier institutes of the country, top IITs and stuff. That is the option of switching your career, kind of, right? In IISc, that necessarily isn't the case. So what I'm looking at, and what I mean by this, the biggest con is in terms of placements. So let's say a person like me, there are a lot of other people also who realize that, okay, academia is not cut out for me. I'm going to go do a job in the industry, work for a company, and then figure it out from there, right? But the kind of companies that come at IISc for placements are primarily and heavily data science or tech-driven companies, right? Because IISc is primarily an engineering. There was a bug. Never mind. But IISc is primarily like an engineering or a science-based institute, right? You won't find marketing companies coming for placements, or supply chain companies, or finance companies, or consulting companies coming for placements. So what that does is, if you want to sit for placements, and if you want to get a good job at the end of your undergrad, you will need to be very proficient in tech-based solutions, tech-based courses. I don't know why I said solutions. Is that impossible? Not necessarily. A lot of people do it. It's very doable. I have my batchmates. Actually, it's better if I put things into perspective through numbers, because otherwise it might give a biased image. So in a batch of 110 around people in my batch, only about 5 people that I know of are currently working in one company or another. It's not that the remaining 105 sat for placement and didn't get anything. Most of them did not want to sit for placement. They wanted to follow up in academia and go ahead in this. But there is still a decently big proportion of students who did wanted to do jobs at the end of their undergrad, and simply there wasn't a job that they could see fit to do at the end of the day. So lack of diverse placements is a big con. It really is. So essentially, you are your own master if you want to sit for placements and get a job at the end of your degree, because you will be a physics major, you will be a material science major, you will be a biology major, and you'll have courses in physics and material science, and these are tough courses. These are not easy courses to do, but at the same time you are not particularly enjoying them. You want to end up working for a good company, so you will have to go that extra step to acquire the data science knowledge, the machine learning knowledge, and not just that, you will also have to learn how to code competitively, because these companies have a competitive coding segment. That was also something that I struggled with. And keep in mind, you're competing against the MTech graduates in CSA and in CDS and in AI, and these are people who are doing a full-time degree in the same. All their courses is inclined to the same, and it's not a level playing field. It really isn't. Still, some people do it. As I said, I have batchmates who are working right now. It is doable, but keep in mind this is the reality. And we've had discussions with the dean. I was part of a meeting with the dean where we were discussing this, and there were talks about changing this and bringing in more diverse set of companies. But what actions have been taken, I'm not very sure, because I have graduated now. But also, I think one more thing that I would like to mention here, as this is true, or all this is in context to the classic IISc UG degree, which is the Bachelor of Science Research degree. From this year onwards, IISc has also started one more bachelor's program, that is Bachelor's in Mathematics and Computation. Now, what my understanding of the course is, from what I've looked at the course, it inherently is more industry relevant, and you're much more employable. I don't think that the students will be graduating in the Mathematics and Computation bachelor's degree, they'll have to worry too much about placements, because you will inherently be studying all of this at a higher level. What I mean by all of this is machine learning and data science and big data and stuff like that. So for Mathematics and Computation, you will have, at least from my understanding, you will most likely have very good packages. But for the classic Bachelor of Science, the research program that has been taking place, and that has been the case for 10 years now. It started in 2012. It was the only UG program in IISc until this year. The situation that I described accurately represents it. So if you are rolling up for the same program, please keep this also in mind while making an informed decision. Con number 2, and this would be mental health. Now this one is a very sensitive issue for me to talk about. I was kind of skeptical whether I should put it in or not, but then if I had not, then I would be going against my claim of or my idea of putting the most accurate representation of IISc. It has to be put in. I'll try to be very careful with my words and the way I describe the mental health scene at IISc. So the course can be taxing. So can the environment be taxing. It's very different for different people, right? I personally did not have so much problem going ahead. I had good friends, and I was mostly, for the most part of the degree, mentally in a very good place. But that's not true for everybody, unfortunately. A couple of my friends, I will not name names to protect their privacy. They're no longer with us because they decided to take their lives. I really don't know how to put this into perspective, but I'm not saying it is entirely an institute's job or the institute's fault. We're all young adults, and our lives are much more mentally demanding than other phases of our life, and so we all have personal life problems, and we cannot hold the institute accountable. But having said that, I feel the institute had a significant role to play, or at least it could have done better. I don't want to get into the details of what the exact case was like, or what could have done better, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to highlight here is the idea that mental health is a thing, and there are UG students who struggle with mental health issues. The institute traditionally, at least to some extent, I feel this has not done an exceptional job of addressing the same, and to ensure that the students have a good time while being at the institute. After these incidents, a lot of steps have been taken. That is true. Several other the campus has in-house psychiatrists and psychologists. These are available. You can book an appointment on your those. You can go have sessions with them. You can have therapy sessions, and there are a lot of other things also that the institute has done, which is commendable, honestly. But at least historically, there have been cases of people struggling with mental health. So keep in mind. So what should be your take on this as a prospective student coming to IISc? That it can be demanding. The course can be challenging, and be very sure that you have a close group of friends with you, that you're close to your family. You tell them what your life actually looks like, and feel free to reach out for help, ask for help when you need it, and hopefully you'll be just fine. But it's worth mentioning that this is also a factor that should go in your decision making. Con number 3, just to lighten things up, that was thoda sa serious. This is not that serious, but still very important, and a big con, and that is weak student exchange program or weak international relations. So in IISc, I think a good way to start this point would be just to give you some stats to get you an idea. So remember we were talking about QS rankings before, and how IISc is a world leader in citations per faculty. You know what it is not pretty good at? That is international faculty ratio. Its rating on a scale of 100 is 11.7, and the second thing, which is the international students ratio, that I believe is 1.9 or 1.7, one of these numbers, but basically less than 2 on a scale of 100. And that really just goes to show that IISc has performed very poorly in these areas. And if it does actually perform better than this, then its international ranking will go from 155, because it has 100 on 100 on citations per faculty. So if it really invests, if the institute going forward invests a lot in exchange programs, its ranking is definitely bound to go up from 155 to top 100, or even top 50 going forward in the future. But yeah, to highlight that point, so right now I'm doing my MBA from IIM Bangalore. We have a great exchange program. IIM Bangalore has partnerships with over 80 institutes across the world, and more than around 200 students from the PGP program go on exchange semesters abroad, and students from abroad come in. But that wasn't the case, and that isn't the case in IISc. You wouldn't see exchange students coming in, and in terms of international relations, they're very. So I remember with NTU, there's a program which is called NTU India Connect, in which IISc sends out a couple of undergraduate students. But apart from that, there is no legal exchange program per se, and it's the scene for going abroad is fairly bleak in terms of the institutional characterized way. So people do go, A lot of my friends went to Europe for their bachelor projects or for their summer internships in third year. It's a trend. But how do they go about it? You have to apply to the professors on your own. You send them a customized email saying, I'm interested in your research, I've read about your work, and I'll be very excited to work with you. So all these are things that you have to do on a personal level to go. And then finding funding, etc., etc., you have to figure that out on your own. The institute does not play a role in this. So these people are doing this because, they found a way to do it. I feel as an institute, if you're ranked number 1 in the entire country for research, you should be in a position, and it's an onus for you to provide good international exchange programs, and there should be better ties with international universities. That is something that the institute truly lacks, and is a big con that again should be factored in decision. Final con, this one is not entirely true, I would say, but true to some extent, I guess. So the student body at IISc is, I feel, at least on a personal level, weaker than other student bodies that are present. So I've had a chance. I've had a chance to see. I am Bangalore Student Affairs Council, and it's a very active thing. People are very excited to become a part of it, and even the people who are working in the Student Affairs Council, they are also very active in terms of the role they play, and it is a decently powerful position to be in. That is not necessarily the case in IISc. Now things have changed, and things are changing as we speak. I remember when I joined the institute, in this general secretary elections of the Student Affairs Council, student body, I think only a couple of nominations were there in an entire college. But now I think moving forward, things have changed, and the Student Affairs Council have now organized a fest called Rhapsody, which was a very big fest. It was the first time that Rhapsody was happening. Earlier there used to be only Pravega, which was IISc's UG fest. We undergrads started it, and it's a ritual to do Pravega. But now there's another fest called Rhapsody, and it was quite a big fest. So I wouldn't say this is completely true. Things are changing. The student body is now more active and more involved in doing things. But traditionally, because IISc has been a research institute and a research focused institute, these other co-curricular activities in terms of Student Affairs Council and the elections and what role they play have been traditionally nominal, but over time increasing quite a lot. And to this point, I think as we speak, you can make a good point to argue that they are at par with other colleges. So I wouldn't say this is necessarily a con, but I would still argue that they are comparatively weaker than other colleges across India, in which the student body holds a lot of importance. Alright, that's it for the video. I hope I've done a good job giving you the most accurate picture of what IISc UG is all about. The pros, the cons, everything. That's about it from my side. So if I had to take an overall call on whether I would join, had I known these things, the things that I know now and that I'm transferring to you, had I known this before joining IISc, would my decision to join IISc would have changed? Would I have joined other institutes like IIT Kanpur that I had calls with? No, absolutely not. I would still join IISc in a heartbeat. I think it was the best decision that I took, and I'm so grateful for how the space has shaped me. No regrets. But at the same time, I did feel like the accurate information on the IISc UG program isn't there, and so I owed it to the community. Guys, thanks for sticking around to the very end. This video was very long, so I really appreciate that. And have a nice day. I'll catch you around.